Okay, right, guys. So, as I said in my email, this is what I call the Leonardo formula. Right? And it's really about how to create that future rather than just keeping your head down all the time and in the busyness of work and not really being where you want to be at the end of the year and the following year and the following year once again. Right. So. My goal today is to help you create what I call a visioning system, right? That enables you to double your growth in 3 years. You could even do faster if you want, and break through that growth ceiling that seems to be plaguing most business owners, right? So, if this is you're wanting to break through that growth ceiling, you don't know how, you know you need change, but you don't know what you want to change to. You've been unable to lift your sights, beyond the here and the now, because you've just been so sucked into the daily operational challenges that every business faces. Maybe you've created a vision board before, but it didn't work, or didn't really help. Or maybe you're just afraid to cap your potential if you do create some kind of a vision. Well, is it going to hold me back? Or maybe you just keep on thinking, one day I'm going to do this. One day it's going to look like that, and so on. Right. So the result of all of that is basically a lack of clarity of where you want to go with your business. And because of that, you end up with lackluster results. Right. You don't really stretch yourself out as a result. So the big question is, why are business owners not getting any results from having a vision or their vision? Right? And basically, you've been told the wrong things. The reality is, visioning is a structural system with a process to drive growth. It's not a once-off picture that you stick on the wall. Yeah. So here's the big idea behind this, right? So vision is what we call a tension resolution system, and I'll explain that in a moment, right? So vision works like a bow, full of tension, ready to be released. And if you don't have the tension, that arrow is not going to go very, very far, right? The reality is we all know tension, seeks resolution, whether it's mental tension or whether it's tension in a bow. But tension seeks resolution, right? And it wants those arrows to be released. Right? So tension is created in your own mind when you face an unsolved problem. So, I can say to you, have a look at this picture, add 4 matchsticks, to create 8 triangles. Can you solve this problem? Right? And once I've put this problem in front of you and you start to think about it, you might become quite obsessed with trying to solve this problem, especially if you don't know how to do it, right? Because there's tension. There's tension between where you are right now with an unsolved problem and you don't know how to solve it. And there's tension between that and having a picture of what 8 triangles looks like, right? So it creates tension in your mind, and your mind wants to go and try and solve that particular problem, right? So I'll show you I'll give you the answers at the end. If you know it already, that's cool. If you don't, I'll give you the answers at the end, right? So tension is created in your mind when you have an unsolved problem, and your mind doesn't like a gap. And it will work consciously and unconsciously to try to close that gap. Right? I'm sure you've all experienced the time where you've had a problem to solve and you haven't been able to solve it, and you wake up the following morning with that, yes, aha, I know how to do this now, right? Because your mind's been working unconsciously trying to solve that problem that you've presented it with, right? So you create tension when you contrast the current unsatisfactory situation where you are at with the desirable future that you want, right? Once you start to paint that discrepancy and contrast that, that's when you start to create tension. Okay. So that's what this Leonardo formula is all about. It's a 5-step, it's a visioning process and a system, and it's based on planning to double your company in 3 years, right? And you might say, well, why 3 years, right? Because when we start to look beyond 3 years, right? We start to look beyond 3 years, it starts to become too far away. It starts to become someday in the future, I'm going to whatever. But it's still close enough for you to have time to make the changes that are necessary to achieve that, right? And then why double, why double the company in 3 years? Well, you can go for more than that, but often what happens is we don't know how high to set our bar, and we often set it too low, right? So if you set yourself a target of, yes, let's double the company in the next 3 years, you have something that's got a time frame and it's also got a target that that is a bit of a stretch target. Now, if you're already doing that in 1 year, fine, then double it, or 10x it in 3 years. But the process then is to create tension with your vision. So you're setting this goal, and you now create a vision of what would my business look like in 3 years' time if I had to double it, right? The second thing is part of that tension is to say, so where am I now, right? What am I, where am I? What's the current reality? And I'm going to I'll show you the tool to do that. But you've got to be able to create that tension and dissatisfaction between where you are now and where you want to be. Then you want to plan a pathway to resolve that tension. So what are my options to get to where I want to be? And then you want to turn it into action steps. And from those action steps, once you have that, you can then start to plan the work and work the plan, as they say. And the third step, and the most important one, is to connect that to your daily actions, so that every day, every week, every month, every quarter, you're actually taking some actions to move you closer to where you want to be, right? So that's very different to just painting a picture and sticking it up on the wall, right? It's actually a system that would create action for you and give you a reason to do actions, right? So here's the first step, right, is to create the tension, right? So you want to describe where you want to be and what it's going to look like in 3 years' time from a perspective of, I've already arrived. What does it look like, right? And you want to imagine your company double its size, right? Then the next step is describe your current unsatisfactory situation. This is the current reality as it is. So you don't want to paint an overly rosy picture, and you don't want to paint a overly gloomy picture. Just look at the reality that you are sitting with, right? What does it look like? The description of your current situation. And then if you don't have enough tension between the two, then there's not going to be a lot of motivation for you to change. So in other words, if you're actually quite happy and in a comfort zone in your current reality, right, then you can paint any future picture, 3-year picture that you want, but you're not going to have a lot of tension to try and resolve it. So your bow of your arrow isn't very tight. And if you try and shoot that arrow, it's going to go plonk right in front of you, right? So you need to make sure that there is this tension between where you are and where you want to be, right? That's absolutely crucial to getting the motivation. Once you have that tension, right, then you can start looking at how to close the gap, right? So let me give you a quick example of what I mean, right? So imagine you're a company that provides home brewers and craft brewing companies, etc., with the ingredients and with the tools, etc., to do that. So you look 3 years hence from now and you say, look, it's December 2026, right? And Malt Company has become the go-to, premier craft brewers, the go-to for premier craft brewers in Gauteng. We're providing unique ingredients unavailable elsewhere, and our gross profit margins have grown to 45% from 30%. We have built an online store with delivery that now generates 80% of our revenue. Our physical store now has double the floor space, and we have an inviting retail setup. Our revenue has doubled to 6 million per annum. Our clients love what we provide and love our personalized service so much, they're referring their friends in droves. Our team now consists of 7 people. The current reality where you're working from is, we're working from a small premises in an unattractive, out-of-the-way location. We have all the know-how and have the same ingredients the others have. I want to have unique ingredients and competitors don't stock. I want to provide detailed recipes for the best brews that others don't want to share. I want the business to be known as the place that helps clients brew good tasting brews first time. Our turnover has now only reached 3 million this past year, and our gross profit margin is 25%, reflecting the tough competition. The business needs higher margins to fund expansion. Myself and my 3 staff are working ourselves to the bone to deliver 7 days a week. This is not sustainable, and we're not online, right? So by contrasting this situation where you are and where you want to be, that then gives, that starts to create that mental tension. And by tension, I don't mean the stress, right? It's, so how do I get to where I want to be, right? Okay. From that, then, you can then start to unpack, so what would those broad steps be? Well, firstly, what are the options that I have to get there? And then what are those action steps that I need to take to get to where I want to go, right? So this business may have looked at the option and said, okay, think online is the way we need to go. We need to create an online presence and expand our retail presence in a more trendy kind of place where people want to go to, right? So, there's a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year kind of outline. So create an agreement with unique product suppliers so we can deliver those unique things, create a great unique selling proposition so we become the go-to for our ideal clients, introduce those new products and change our pricing, find new premises for the physical store, introduce a new store in a trendy location, get referral partner sales up to 500,000 Rand per year, build an online sales to sell, at least 2 million per year. So there's a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year kind of program that is now starting to take shape of where you want to go. Right? So once you start to progress, this is the key. You need to frequently stop and look at that progress to gain confidence and maintain momentum. So what's the secret here? If you look at top athletes, the research has been done on the top athletes that succeed and the top athletes that don't. What's the difference between the two? And what the research shows is that the guys who are successful don't just look at the gap all the time and become despondent. What they do is they look back on the progress that they've made so far. So I've got this in place, I've done this, I've achieved this. Okay, maybe now I can do this, right? The next kind of steps. But they're building their confidence and they're maintaining the momentum by frequently looking back on the progress. This is where we are. This is what we need to do next. I've managed to do this, and this. It's all the things that we normally just gloss over because we're so busy charging ahead. We don't actually stop and take stock of what we've achieved, and recognize that and bask in the glory and build the confidence from that. So you want to go from your current situation to the new situation. You want to stop at regular intervals, every quarter at least, and you want to then review and see how you've progressed, what you've learned, etc., before moving on to the next kind of steps. That's very important for your team as well. If you want your team to be able to build that confidence, you've got to stop at those intervals and build up the confidence and the momentum. So, guys, here's the tool, and I've given you that tool in one of the downloads of how to unpack, what to look at to unpack your 3-year vision. So the thing is to almost put yourself in that end state already, and imagine you were walking around with a clipboard, or maybe a video recorder, maybe your camera, and you're walking around in your business in 3 years' time, trying to record what you actually see, right? And you want to capture that in almost like bullet points, right? So this is a tool to help you do that. So in 3 years' time, how do you see yourself spending your time? What am I doing in a day and in a week? Is it different, right? Am I still working like crazy hours, or am I now working on high value items and I've got a lot of extra time because the team's doing what needs to be done, right? What is your client base now looking like? I've now got a better, more profitable kind of client base. What are the products and services that I now offer my clients? What does my operations look like? What are we recognized for in the market, right? What are my financials now looking like? What's that saying to me? What does my marketing now look like? What is my sales team successes? What have those been, right? What are my clients saying about us, right? What is our culture now? What are my employees saying about how we work and the kind of company that we are, right? So use this tool to jot down some bullet points for the various areas. And these aren't the only areas. You can have other areas. You can add more. But you want to start getting a bit of a rich description about what your business looks like, right? And then you want to create that portrait, that top block of what does my company now look like? It's December 2026. We've grown our company into a business that looks like this. Our clients are saying this. We're recognized for this, right? So you can start to craft a portrait, a rich picture that you can share with your team as well, so that they also know where you are going, right? And then you want to contrast that with your current reality, so you can start to create a pathway to get there, right? Okay. So, guys, I just want to show you how a case that I briefly spoke about in my email. So this is a case of Larry Harmer, who was the principal of a school who had these wonderful dreams, really dynamic guy with great ideas, great dreams, but just couldn't make it become a reality. So what did Larry do to make the impossible possible? He had a lot of dreams, but he started with, so what do we tackle in the first 3 years? And it was all about an AstroTurf hockey field. These things cost 5, 6, 7 million rand. These days, a lot more than that, right? And he had this vision of having this, and competition against other schools who are in that league, right? Because if you don't have the AstroTurf and you're playing on grass here, it's a really slow game. You just can't compete, right? And really want to become a strong contender in those hockey playing schools. So the current reality that he has was there's insufficient cash. There's no strong donor base like some of the other schools, right? But there was a strong demand for hockey in the school. They wanted to play in those higher leagues, but constrained due to the facilities. He's losing good students to other schools due to better facilities, right? So students with great sporting potential, right? So that was kind of the current reality, right? So then he started having a look at, so how do we do this? Well, there are various options, right? But the first thing is to afford that, 5-6 million rand hockey field. The first thing is you needed to lift his cash flow. And that was done by looking at his money model, guys. And I'm going to, cover that next week. In how to use your money model to make your pathway and your vision come true, right? But by just looking at a couple of smart levers in his money model, he found he didn't need to have 5 million rand or 6 million rand saved up. You could actually generate sufficient cash quite quickly to be able to pay off a loan, right? And so that became the approach, right? So become lendable, lift the cash flow so there's enough cash to pay off, a 6 million loan. Dress yourself up to become lendable, because most banks don't want to lend to schools. They're too risky. Then obtain a proposal and a quote for AstroTurf. Go to a lender, obtain the loan, right? Then get parent approval to go ahead once those boxes are ticked. And if they give the go ahead, then get the go ahead and build the AstroTurf, right? What was the result of that? So after years and years and years of not being able to get anywhere, using this rigid, robust rather methodology, within 18 months they had an AstroTurf built, right? But that's not the end of the story. Once the recipe is ingrained, there's nothing to stop you going further, right? And the next thing was a gymnasium that was built with a proper gym, like a Virgin Active type gym set up in it, but obviously a lot smaller. Thereafter, that followed up with a multi-million rand indoor swimming pool, heated, half-size Olympic swimming pool, covered, indoor, heated. And now moving on to an auditorium with a robotics lab below it is going to be the next project. So the methodology is the important thing, right? Rather than what was achieved, right? But this is about making what today seems impossible to become possible. You'll be amazed how well that works if you use this together with your money model to see how you can generate the cash. So the common pitfalls and some success tips. Pitfall number one, you have a vision statement, but you haven't created mental tension, right? If you're comfortable with where you are, you can paint any picture you want. You're not going to be motivated to get there, right? Pitfall number two, you treat your vision as a once-off and not as a system or a system to double your growth. You see it as a picture that you stick on the wall and like a little marketing thing. And occasionally at the end of the year, you say, hey, didn't we have a vision statement or something like that, right? Pitfall number three is you don't connect your vision to your daily actions. So you don't have a plan of steps and then break that plan into actions that you're going to do every quarter, right? And every week and every day take action. Pitfall number four, you don't take that vision seriously, right? Or the vision isn't meaningful to you. You put something up because you feel, well, every business should have a vision, so let's do one, right? It's not really meaningful to you, or your vision is too small. And that's why we say, try and double your business in 3 years. But some success tips. The key here is to share it with others. Number one, if your team doesn't know where you want to go, they can't help you get there. They don't know how to contribute if they don't have a picture, right? So talk about the picture with your team, right? You're the business owner, so it should be yours, but get them to contribute to it, right? What if we added A, B, C, D? What would that be? Well, if your staff member says that, consider that. Maybe that will enrich the picture. They might have ideas that you didn't think of that might be, wow, that's really awesome. Yeah. Secondly, don't hide it internally in your company. Share it with your clients, your prospects, with your suppliers, share it with everybody. Because, there's this serendipity thing that happens. Somebody walks in and says, wow, that's really exciting. I see you put something down about wanting to be a business case at Wits Business School for how to grow your business. I used to work at Wits Business School, and I know the guy who writes the business cases. Would you like an introduction? Right? You never know where opportunities are going to come from. But they happen because you're sharing your vision to everybody else. Right? Then success tip number 3 is stay in touch with that vision. Right? Review it frequently. Keep it alive. Right? Have a look at it regularly with your team. Maybe it's at monthly meetings, quarterly reviews. Right? In future sessions, I'm going to talk about how to do those things as well. But success tip number 3 is live with intention. So don't just come to work every day and keep the business going. Have an intention to have a bigger, better future for you and for your family, your employees, and so on. So build something intentionally that is going to give you that pleasure and that joy and that meaning. Okay, so the vision is the most important tool your company might just be missing. Just imagine your future if you could double, maybe even triple or 10x your revenue. You could go on through cycles doing this process. Imagine if your systems and your processes are running so smoothly that when you're on holiday, you don't have to check your phone or your emails. Wouldn't that be pretty cool? If your company becomes the logical go-to for your ideal clients, they love you and they'll pay you more for the value that you offer. Use this as a tool to build those elements into your business. Imagine if you have a self-managing team that takes just as much responsibility as you for growing the company. And then imagine creating a lasting legacy that will impact your team members, your family, your clients, maybe the community for even years to come. So just imagine the possibilities for your business, and it's there, just like Larry, right? The impossible can actually become possible. Yeah. Cost of inaction, more of the same this year as last year. You start to lose time. There might be a window of opportunity. We're all getting older. Things change. You miss those opportunities. If you don't get cracking on these things, you might even miss opportunities you never even thought about, right? As I showed with that example, sharing your vision with somebody outside the company could open up whole new ideas and vistas for you. Right? And the result is your team, your clients, community, family miss out on a better and prosperous future. So you have two choices. You can continue on the same road, take action, right? Just take action. I've given you some of those tools, willing to share a lot more with you, but just take action. Get to doing action. And guys, if you want more information, you're welcome to contact me. Give me a call, drop me an email, and if you want to book some time on, book some time as well. So, guys, let's open this up to more to FAQs. Based on what you've heard, what would be your top 3 actions that you would want to take to move your business forward? So I'm just going to give you 1 or 2 minutes, and then I'm going to ask you for your biggest takeaways. But don't walk away just thinking this was nice information, right? There's a step-by-step process, and it can and will help you decide what you want to do. Right? Do you want to be stuck where you are, or do you want to do something about it? So what are those first steps you want to take for yourself? So I've given you some of the tools. You can start working on those things. And if you want more tools, I can share those with you as well. Okay, so Guys, over to you. Maybe just what are your biggest insights or aha moments that you've found out of this? Does this make sense to you guys? So Dave, maybe we should start with you. Sorry to put you on the spot.
You always put me on the spot there. Yeah.
Sorry,
Well, in my situation, it's quite complex, but I mean, I like your example, and it's as an old hockey player, cricket player, I can envision what their old friend Mr. Armour was trying to do, because I have family who are involved in teaching and vice principals and principals of schools and things like that. So you can imagine, I think the big thing is getting parents buy-in when you're committing to spend a bit of bucks is the challenge. But I think from action one that I've taken away is I've got to sit down with my partner or the son of the founder of the operating business we run now and say, what is his vision? Because he's really the MD, I'm the major shareholder, but I've only really recently got involved. So I've got to start saying, well, what is your vision? But the issue is we're always under pressure in terms of finance, so that it clutters the strategic thinking, because you're just worrying about how you're surviving to the next time or something like that. So to get a detailed vision from my partner is vital. But also in my own context, I'll say I've got to think a bit bigger and be a bit more confident. Yeah. Or be a bit more.
Yeah, sorry, Dave, carry on.
Probably confident or assertive. Yeah. That's some of my thoughts.
Yeah, so don't worry about the how when you do that vision, right? So when you start thinking about the how, it immediately puts a brake on you. Right? Yeah. So don't worry about the how. Just get this vision, and think of this almost like an artist creates, art, maybe a painting or whatever, right? They don't just hop onto a canvas and paint. The really good guys sort of make some sketches first, hand sketches of what they want. They have different versions, and eventually they come out and paint the thing that they want, right? So you're not going to get it 100% first time, right? The first one might be the outline sketch, which you're going to refine that a little bit more and a little bit more. And particularly when I show you, if you'll hop on next week, I'm going to show you how to use the money model, which then helps to unlock the finances that are required, right? By making small changes in the right places, which is exactly what our Larry Harmer did, right? Yeah. He, just by making small tweaks, and I'll show you what he did. He didn't have to go back and ask for people to dig deeply into their pockets, right? And once he figured that out, that was the magic. That was really the magic that brought it to life, right? So don't think about the how too much right now. Just think about what you want, because your brain's going to start thinking about the how. How the hell do we get there? Well, we don't have the cash, and I'm going to show you, as I said, the money model that will help with that aspect. You can find ways to block them out. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, man.
Hello.
Hello. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think when it's so busy with survival and so busy with a lot of things that's happening on a day-to-day basis that you really get entangled within that, and you tend to divert back to the things that you do every day, and then also there's such a lot of challenges at the moment in having a business, and also for all your clients. They go through the same steps, and they battle with survival, and there's not a lot of cash flowing around. So you literally battle from month to month to just keep everything going and keep all your employees going, that you easily just revert back to that. So every time you think, okay, now I've got a vision, now I'm gonna follow it. There's so many things that pulls it back that if you're not conscious of it all the time, then you're really sitting with a difficult place with having enough energy to keep moving, and then at the end of the day to get to the result part.
Yeah. So the daily urgent crowds are out there important, right? So yeah, absolutely. That's critical, and that's why it's so important to free up some time, which was what I covered previously, but also to put a system in place to get this stuff done, because you got your to-do list on your desk. You can't put these things on your to-do list. You've got to have your to-do list. It's going to keep you busy, and then you've got to have a separate list of a set of priorities. And you just take, every quarter, bite-sized chunks, right? But things quick wins that you can deliver on. And every quarter, you push it forward. And before you know it, you're starting to make some real traction. But if you keep on allowing the urgent to crowd out the important, the thing is, at the end of the year and the following year and the following year, you're only going to have incremental gains again, if any. That's just the reality, right? Unless you've got massive demand coming in, which most businesses don't. So yeah, Amsi, thanks for sharing that. Any big insights out of this, or aha moment? No, Amsi?
I think everything that you're saying makes so much sense, and it is things that one must do and just make time for. I think it's things that we know, but that we just don't do. So, it's just a thing to make time for that and to really move with that.
Probably one of the items is that, when you said review every quarter, maybe you're going to be very diligent and honest and objective when you do that, because it's easy to make excuses or say you couldn't do that or anything like that or something, and you put it off, and maybe you've got to be actually quite a hard ass and say to yourself or the team or your partners, this is what we said we're trying to do, but this is the quarter gone by in terms of our vision. How have we progressed? And be very objective when you're looking at it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to cover that in a future training. That system, that quarterly planning system. But the important thing is to keep your focus and hold each other accountable. By having the right get-togethers, feedback, etc. Because it's easy to slip back into the routine of didn't have time. Very easy. But bite-sized chunks and written down objectives, things that you can achieve, quick wins, and hold each other accountable. That's the way to do it. Doug, your thoughts?
Yeah, Peter, I think there's a couple of things. I'll just share something that we are going to be implementing, because I'm involved with a group that's actually got 4 separate companies. So we've got a management team of 4 people. So we came up with a concept where, as at the 1st of March, which is the new financial year, each one of the 4 of us that are the senior management team are going to be accountable for one company, for 3 areas in that company. And the other guys are going to keep their nose out, if I can put it that way. So we will have our team talks amongst ourselves and our strategies and whatever. But you go and run with that company, because I think one of the things is too many of us can be not interfering in a negative way, but trying to do everything for everybody, if I can put it that way. So the 3 areas that the 4 guys are going to be accountable for is sales, customer service, and collection of debt. So we've got our finance department, we've got our operations department, but I don't think the focus is good enough having people looking at 4 things together instead of just taking specifics. And we're going to give this a go for 90 days to see if it works, if we do start getting an action. And you've got basically carte blanche to do anything within that team to make it grow, you know, that business. And then you share it with your partners. So you indirectly, we will have a competition to buy lunch or something stupid, but it's, I think you become too distracted by trying to do everything.
Yeah.
Instead of narrowing it down to specifics.
Yeah, so you know, the idea behind this is know where you want to go, number one, right?
Yeah.
Know where you are, know where you want to go. And then what is the easiest, fastest, best way to get to where you want to go?
Right.
So that you can maintain focus on that. And if you've got a shared, you know, a shared picture, a shared portrait in people's minds of where you're going, it starts to align the team because everybody can see how they can contribute. But if you haven't got that shared picture, everybody's going to have a different picture and they're all going to argue about which direction to go into. Right?
Exactly.
Do that, this one wants to go there, but yeah. So this is all about alignment, really. Alignment and making it happen. Right?
And I think it's also empowering people, whereas otherwise the people are inclined to sit back and say, we're giving input or whatever, but the owner of the group or the major shareholder of the group, you know, it's his decision ultimately. He, you know, whereas now you as an individual have got the say.
Yeah.
You know, to go and put into practice what you've been preaching for a long time, you know, to yourself or to your mates or whatever. Well, now go and do it. So that's sort of a concept we're going to try, because we are quite how can I say, the management team is quite close, but it's too varied because the businesses are so diversified. What works in one doesn't mean to say it works in the other. So trying to put the same principles in each business is not working.
Right. Okay.
So that's what Peter, just one question on the stuff you gave us. That one where you've got what my business looks like now after 3 years of development, with all the little boxes.
Yeah.
So are you splitting that what it looks like now and what you expect it to look like in 3 years' time?
Now, what you want
in
it to look like.
each box, what you want it to look like.
Yeah, just bullet points. And you got to put yourself there already, right? And look back.
Okay. Yeah, right, like you did with that slide you put up.
Yeah, look back, right, and say, this is where I am. This is what I've got. This is what we've done.
Okay. So you're looking at the end of the dream, and then you're looking about how you're going to get to that end.
Yeah, and then you come back and you say, where am I right now? What's the real current reality?
Okay. No, that's fine. I just missed the first couple of minutes because of all sorts of ESCOM problems. But yeah, otherwise now, yeah, good. Okay, thanks, Peter.
Okay, awesome. Clive, your thoughts?
Doug, very, very interesting on your allocation of responsibilities and duties to be between the 4 of you. I think that's a great idea. Pete, my big takeaway actions from this is, first of all, to analyze our vision and be clear on where we want to be. And actually, as you said, put ourselves in that future position, looking back. Okay. Then create the tension. And from there, obviously, you've got to look at just strategic cash generation to meet this vision and how you can unlock those finances. The next step I think you need to go to is to plan the way forward. List the steps clearly, you know, your vision, your plan, your strategy, and then share these with your team members. Very, very important. And obviously, you and your team members have to take that action, and then keep revisiting and sharing those, you know, your vision, your plan, and your strategy. And as you said, probably quarterly would be a good idea. But every business is different. Maybe some people want to do it monthly initially.
Yeah.
But I just think it's very, you know, just putting everything, you know, planning the whole thing, seeing where you want to be, and then, you know, taking action accordingly is what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And just keeping the focus on that.
Yeah.
Over and above your day job type of thing, right?
Yeah, we hear you.